All right, so I'm going to have you on your own calculating the price elasticity of demand. Actually, no, I'm going to do it with you. I'm going to do it with you. We don't have enough time. Okay, so how do we calculate the price elasticity of demand between these 2 points? So the price elasticity of demand is equal to the percentage change in my quantity demanded divided by my percentage change in my price, both of these using the midpoint formula. So let's go ahead and unpack the percentage change in the quantity demanded. The percentage change in the quantity demanded is going to be my quantity demanded 2, let's call this one 3,000, and let's call this one my quantity demanded 1. Now we have to be clear here when we're doing this kind of stuff. Now we have to be very clear with our labeling of the prices and make sure that the price that corresponds with 2,800 is also labeled P1. Otherwise, you're not going to get the right measure. And yes, I'm trying to say measure very strange today, just for the fun of it. All right, so this is going to be Q2 minus Q1 over Q1 plus Q2 divided by 2 times 100. So this is 3,000 minus 2,800 divided by the midpoint between 2,800 and 3,000 is, you guessed it, 2,900. And then we multiply that by 100, and we end up with a percentage change in the quantity demanded of 6.9%. Now we're going to do the percentage change in the price. So P2 minus P1 over P1 plus P2 divided by 2 times 100. And so this is going to be P2 is 60 minus P1 is 70 divided by the midpoint in between them is 65. Multiply all that by 100 and we get negative 15.4% for my percentage change in my price. And if we've done it correctly, one of these should be negative. Why? The law of demand. So now we need to pop these into their corresponding places of our price elasticity of demand calculation. So we end up with 6.9 on the numerator. And we end up with negative 15.4 on the denominator. This is why we have the absolute values that I love to leave out. Once we do this calculation and take the absolute value, we end up with an elasticity of 0.45. And one of the neat things about elasticity is that elasticity is unitless. What do we mean by unitless? Meaning it does not have a unit. It's not square feet, it's not dollars, it's not units of goods, it's not thumbs, it's not degrees, it's just nothing. Elasticity is just 0.45. Now we can then classify this elasticity into one of 3 categories, right? We can figure out if this is elastic, unit elastic, or inelastic, depending on where this falls compared to 1, right? If it's less than 1, it's inelastic. If it's equal to 1, it's unit elastic. And if it's greater than 1, it's elastic. So this one here is less than 1. Therefore, it is inelastic or not very responsive to changes in price. What isn't very responsive? The quantity demanded. Questions on our example and how to calculate using a demand curve, using some points on a demand curve.
how did you choose which was the new price and old price?
Just
not matter or what?
it does not matter. Yeah. No, very good. So yeah, we can absolutely do this. If you wanted to, you could flip these, and you could have, you know, this be P2 and this be P1, and this be Q2 and this be Q1, and as long as it was all consistent, like as long as the 2 always corresponded with the correct value for both the Q and the P, then yeah, like it would. What would end up happening is instead of getting a positive value for the quantity demanded, we would have gotten a negative value, and instead of getting a negative value for the change in the price, we would have gotten a positive value. So our calculations would have ended up the same. The signs would have just been flipped. And so that's the other thing too. When you're doing these calculations on your own, if both of them are negative, you did something wrong. And if both of them are positive, you did something wrong. So that's kind of a good way to check your work as you're going along there, that one of these should be the opposite sign of the other because of that law of demand. Good question. Yeah. Other questions, comments? This sucks. I hate elasticity.